everyone, it is Crystal with Pineapple Papers, and I am back with another Stretch the Sketch. And this sketch, I actually was able to pick this time. So I looked down my Pinterest board. We were talking about sketches. I threw one out there, and one of the other ladies was like, "Oh, that's been on my Pinterest board forever too." So I was like, "Okay, perfect. Let's do this sketch. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be so messy." And it was crazy messy. Like, I don't know what my problem was, but I was getting stuff everywhere. So I started out with 3 shimmers paint. The first one, the pink one, is Moulin Rouge. The dark tealy one is Peacock's Bloom. And the minty one is It's Meant to Be. So I just used the packaging technique. And then I had picked up some screen print from Heidi Swap. And I wasn't sure if I could use paste or what I could use with it. So I did go ahead and purchase her ink to go with it. So I used it in black, and it's really cool. And then I promptly cleaned it off. So I hope that I cleaned it off appropriately. I've never used them, so not really sure. But I do have very good intentions of trying it again. So my idea with stretching this sketch is literally stretching it into a 2-page layout. So I'm really trying super hard to leave the white pieces of paper background together and get them to cut appropriately. I don't know what my problem was with my trimmer, but I couldn't hold my paper straight. I cut it, it goes down twice. So at that point, I'm like, just forget it. I'm gonna make that particular piece a little shorter, and it's all gonna work out. And you can see, maybe it would have been a little easier if I actually tried to use my finger with a Band-Aid. Apparently I haven't cut bagels in a while and decided to slice right into that. So now that I kind of have figured out how my paper piece is going to be, now I can work on those drips. So this was my first attempt. I used the Peacock, and 2 drips worked great, but I couldn't get the other drips going. So I have seen other people actually, I guess you would say, make faux drips per se. So this time when I went in with the mint, I basically started the drips and it worked out great. Those were my favorite. And then I went to the Moulin Rouge, and it was a little thick. And so when I put it on, even though I do start those drips you see there, I'm realizing very quickly that there's just not enough fluid. So I try to add some water and get those to drip, which some of them went, and then, but not all the way to the left side. So I add some more water. So I just make a huge mess. I do like it. It works out good. Nothing is very uniform, which is good because they're drips. But I do have to say the mint was my favorite. So here I am just trying to straighten up those edges. So I just go ahead and glue them down, and then I am just going to trim them off so that they're 12 by 12 size. Now I did contemplate using some sort of tab punch because the sketch calls for tabs, and then I was thinking maybe I wanted to add that lace to the top, and I decided against that. I did take it to my sewing machine and added some messy sewing lines down both sides. Then I realized there is this big prominent doily in the sketch that needed to go behind that blue paper that I have now sewed down. So I just grabbed a smaller doily and put it behind the flowered paper instead. And I think you get that same effect, and I'm very happy with that. Now, instead of 2 pictures, I am using 3 because it is a double page spread. I did like the idea of kind of that Polaroid look to them. So originally that wasn't my plan, but I went through my frames and found these, and I don't know where they're from. They're just in my package of frames. So I put them over my 3 pictures and went ahead and trimmed around them so they look like the Polaroid. Then I took all of the pieces that I had left from my chipboard sheet of my Chasing Dreams and pulled them off, and then stuck them on wax paper and trimmed around them so that I can freely move them around the paper because I'm a little non-committal. And this layout took me all day. I mean, it's sped up quite a bit, so hopefully you guys don't get bored, but it took me a long time. So I kind of have an idea of where I want the chipboard, so I go ahead and commit and peel all of the backing off of it. Now I leave that little space where between the banners and the single picture on the right side, and that's where my journaling is going to go. I will be typing that up at some point, but not necessarily on camera. So I am going to label these 2 ribbon things on top of this frame. So I do have to add some fun foam from Walmart and put it in 1 layer on that one and then 2 layers on the bunny one so that they're all even. So here I am kind of cleaning up as I go. So while I am getting all of that down, I want you guys to head into the description box and go check out everyone's take on this sketch. I am super excited about this sketch. It's something totally different. I think it's not most of our styles, and so it'll be fun to see everybody's take on that. Now, there is a little bit of a gap between those books and the ribbon that was bothering me, so I went ahead and grabbed that lace trim and popped it under there, and I was thinking, do I want to extend it past, which I ultimately decide not to. Now, there are a couple of differences between the sketch and mine. The sketch calls for the title to be at the bottom, and I just felt like if I put it on the bottom that it was going to cover up some of those drips that I kind of worked so hard on. So I had that big blue gap on the top and decided to add that adventure, since it is 3 pictures of me and my husband and my daughter, and we were hiking one of our mountains here. And so I thought that was an appropriate title, and a little pat on the back for me actually getting a title. Not a very good pat because, let's be honest, I didn't make up the title. So there were a couple of other kind of stamping elements. I decided to go with some black splatters, which took forever to dry, and it sat on my desk, and then I decided it needed something else, and what it needed was sequins. So you'll see in the finished product, I added the Spiegel Mom Scraps Music to My Heart sequins. They are just beautiful. And I also did a black border on the sides and the top just to ground it a little bit because it was warping so much. So remember to wear your crown. We'll see you next time. Bye.